the question might come up, do I confront my abuser? I wish I could say there was a definite answer to that, but I'm going to say it depends. And it depends on the offense. It depends on your relationship with the person. It depends on their response to it, the seriousness of the offense. All of these things matter. I'll give you a couple of examples. If your best friend did something to offend you that requires forgiveness, but they didn't do something inherently evil, they didn't like beat you or abuse you, but something that just was really painful, then the best thing to do would be to probably go to that person one-on-one and confront them with it and say, this really hurt me. This thing that you did, it was very painful to me, and it felt like it was damaging to our friendship. That would be one step that you do. You definitely don't want to start rumors or talk about it to other people who are not involved in that, unless it was someone, if you're talking to a spouse, that's different. But if you're talking to another friend, sometimes it can overlap the bounds of gossiping, and gossiping is terrible. Now, on the other hand, if someone has abused you and violated a law, maybe it was physical abuse, maybe it was sexual abuse, something that was definitely a violation of law, what I like to think of is that you need to have a confrontation, but you need to have a surrogate confronter. So, for example, the police would be your surrogate. If someone abused you physically, let's say, you report it to the police, and they're the ones who are going to handle it. If you try to go person to person to the one who abused you, it may lead to something terrible or a worse situation. So sometimes it's okay to have a surrogate in there. And I'm sorry that there's no definite answer in this, but it really depends on every situation. It depends on the level of the offense, whether it was a crime, whether it was something, the person's relationship to you, even how long ago it was. Because obviously, if something happened, if a parent did something to you 40 years ago and they passed away 20 years ago, you're not going to be able to confront them. And if you confronted a spouse, their former spouse or their current spouse, that could lead to other things too. So be very careful and pray for wisdom when it comes to anything involving confrontation. I'll leave you with this one story of my mom. When I told my mom at the age of 16 about being molested, she got in a rage, which was good. It was good that she got in this rage. And she's always been a woman of action. She wanted to do something. And so this abuser of mine was her best friend's former husband. They had been divorced and split up at least 8 years by this point. So she calls her friend up and says, I want you to give me his address, because here's what my son Jimmy just told me about what he did. I don't know what my mom was planning on doing. I don't know if she was planning on going and showing up at his home, but that would have been a terrible mistake. Unfortunately, my mom, with her own abuse and the things that she had been through, when her friend refused to give an address, my mom dropped it. She dropped the ball. And when I looked back on that as an adult, I had to actually go back and forgive my mom as well, because I didn't feel like she did as much as she could. And I think I actually confronted my mom on this when I was in my 30s. And I said, Mom, why did you not move forward with this? And she just said, well, my friend said, I'm not going to give you his address because I don't want to lose my retired military privileges. And it was my mom's fault for dropping it and not going on. And then my mom did something this is why I had to forgive her. My mom continued to be best friends with that person, despite this answer that she got from the former wife. And that was just incredible to me, that my mom was not the advocate that I needed for her. So remember, in confrontation, be prayerful and be careful and get lots of advice and input. And don't forget to have this surrogate confronter. If it's been a crime, let the police handle it.